Hook It and Cook It. From the catch to the kitchen, it's your front row seat to learn mouth-watering new ways to fix seafood. It's time for Hook It and Cook It.
Welcome to Hook It and Cook It. I'm your host, Frank Willem. Today we're cooking redfish, but not any old redfish. Chef Chris Garrett from the Chimney's restaurant in Gulfport, Mississippi is here to show us how to make almond encrusted redfish and lobster. But before we cook it, we gotta go hook it, or maybe catch it in the case of lobster. Redfish were more or less considered a trash fish before the 1980s when Chef Paul Prudhomme came on the scene with his famous black and redfish dish. Suddenly they were in the spotlight of most Cajun restaurant menus. With their reddish gold bodies, white bellies, and bold eye spots on their tails, they're an attractive fish, but also a tasty one. I like fishing for them on light tackle. They can sure add a lot of excitement to any fishing trip. It's always fun to be catching speckled trout and little rat reds when a big bull takes the bait and the fight is on.
Pretty fish.
They reach lengths of 30 inches in 3 to 5 years, but in 1984, a 57-inch, 94-pound monster was caught off the coast of North Carolina. Personally, I think it's best to release these big fish. Actually, I find the smaller ones are tastier too. All right, we've got our redfish and our lobster. When we come back, we'll prep the fish for the pan.
Then we got a breadcrumb crust made from almonds, toasted almonds, breadcrumbs, and Parmesan cheese.
Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. Chef Chris Garrett is about to show us how to bread our redfish.
So if you'll hand me the piece of
right.
redfish, we're gonna take it, and I've got some seasoned flour, just a little seasoned salt, paprika, and black pepper. I'm just gonna bread both sides of this with some flour, just lightly dredge it.
All right.
And
Then you put the egg wash in after that, I see, okay.
Right.
All right.
The flour gives the milk something to stick to.
All right.
And then that goes in. We got a breadcrumb crust made from almonds, toasted almonds, breadcrumbs, and Parmesan cheese.
Any particular secret on the almonds, or just?
You just want to light oil in a pan and throw them in there, and just for a couple of seconds swirl them around, then get them out and let them cool down. Doesn't take too long. The longer you leave them in there, the browner. They get brown quick, and as you pull them out, they cook a little bit more. So
Get a strong flavor if you
right.
Yeah.
So we're going to go into the pan with that.
Now, about how long do you cook it?
We're probably going to do we're going to get a nice golden brown, 2.5 minutes or so on each side. We'll pull it out and do some other stuff we'll get to, and then we'll put it back in there.
Oh, okay, great.
So.
Great. All right. Well, you're an inshore fisherman. You caught a number of these redfish, right?
Yeah, we do me and a few buddies, we do a lot of inshore fishing. We'll get out pretty far occasionally, but I prefer trout, redfish, flounder. You know, it's just I don't know, it's just more convenient. They're fun to catch. You know, I like the small tackle and
the nice fight on the light tackle, right? Sure. In fact, just yesterday, my daughter and I went out and we caught a couple nice bulls. They were around 38 inches or thereabouts, and light tackle, 12-pound test, and it give you quite a fight. Of course, those don't taste quite as good as these.
Right. This one was, the fillets were probably about 14, 15 inches long, so I'm guessing the fish, is probably about 22 inches, 23 inches.
That's perfect size.
Perfect. I don't particularly keep redfish any larger than that if I catch them, but sometimes they get the parasites in them. So, and they're just a little bit tougher, like you say. So.
Yeah, the last time I tried one of those redfish on the half shell with a larger fish, it was actually tough. I've never had a fish like that be tough, but it sure was.
We did keep some friends and I kept a big one time, and we have a big green egg, and we did it real slow on the half shell. Real slow, and it turned out pretty good.
Really? Okay.
So.
Yeah, I broiled it at a fairly high temperature, so that probably is a difference.
Right. We're just going to check this and see how we're getting. Yeah. Just a good toast on it there.
Now, from what I understand, you basically taught yourself how to cook. Is that correct?
I did. I got in a little more oil. I got into the restaurant business when I was still in high school. You know, I just needed a job for the most part, and just started learning from people that were there and teaching myself other things as time went on. You know, I learned how to do something, so I'd try something else. If it didn't come out right, I'd just try again. It was a lot of reading about it and trial and error.
Doing it empirically.
Yeah.
Well, I know the Chimneys, I've been going there ever since they had their first location, which used to be the Cock of the Walk. But I understand you've been there quite a while, right?
I have. From the Cock of the Walk, they went to Long Beach Harbor. There was a building there, and I joined them in 1998, I think. I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So I just worked my way up over time, and then we moved to Gulfport, and the hurricane hit and rebuilt, and so I just kept coming back. So I got a little bit of wine over there. Can you pass that to me?
I sure
Just
will.
need to add a little bit here.
When we return, Chef Chris turns up the heat on the redfish.
This is just a Chardonnay from deglaze.
That was pretty impressive. We're making a tasty almond encrusted redfish and lobster dish. We'll get to the lobster a little later on. Right now, Chef Chris is on fire with our redfish.
I got a little bit of wine over there. Can you pass that to me?
I sure
Just
will.
need to add a little bit here. This is just a Chardonnay from deglaze.
That was pretty impressive.
We're gonna set this off to the side. We got it nice
Okay.
and brown. It's not quite cooked all the way. And just gonna pull that off for a minute. And we need to do a little chopping here.
Okay, alrighty.
We're gonna do a little bit of onion. Just a little quick julienne.
Why purple versus yellow or white onions?
This is mainly for a presentation, but
Okay.
they're a little bit stronger than the yellow, and I like the flavor in this particular dish. But no, I did a couple of deployments in the Marine Corps, 03 and 05. I would just take time off and go do what I had to do, and then come back, and it was I wouldn't trade it. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't do it again, but I wouldn't trade the experience. So.
I understand. And you're in Iraq, actually, right, during those deployments?
Right, 03, 05. We were there for the invasion in 03, and went back to do some other work in 05, just clearing cities of the bad guys. I got a shallot here. We're gonna cut the ends off of that.
All right.
Split it down the middle. I'm just gonna take that peel off.
Now, what's between onion and shallot? I know a lot of people get confused, myself included. The differences in the flavors are what?
It is. It's kind of like a little garlicky onion.
Ah, okay.
It's kind of hybrid. It's kind of just a mixture of the two. And we got a couple mushrooms if you want to chop those up.
Okay. Just slice them? Or
Yeah, just slice them.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to take these vegetables and go into the pan. Still nice and warm. We're going to put a little bit more oil in it. The same pan that we did the fish in, it's still got.
Take advantage
Some
of
of
that
the
flavor in there?
Yeah, some of those almonds and stuff from the crust. So putting some flavor in there. Got a little bit of garlic over there, just a minced garlic.
There you go.
I'll put a little bit of that in there. You want to turn the heat down a little bit so the garlic doesn't burn.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, does it?
No, we're just trying to toast it.
All right.
And then we need a little bit more of that wine.
Okay.
This is just a regular
I just drank a little.
Chardonnay. All right, that's
saved
okay.
some.
I'm not gonna get a flame this time because we're going low.
Okay. Okay.
And then that lemon, if you want to slice that in half, give it a little roll first. Break the fibers up, get a little bit more juice out of it.
Just in half?
Yeah, just in half. We're going to squeeze some fresh lemon juice in here. We're going to set this fish back in it in just a minute. We need to add a little of the heavy cream there.
Okay. There you go.
Open that. We're just going to add about 1/3 of a cup.
Now this is the base for the topping?
This is the, yes, this is it's kind of the sauce that everything's tossed into. I have a seasoning blend down there.
Are you gonna share any of your secret spices here? Or?
We'll, this is, I can say a few of them because, you know, the quantities, I won't mention that, but.
That's fair enough.
We got some kosher salt, some chili powder, some black pepper. I'll put those in there. Those are just regular button mushrooms. We're gonna slide our fish back in.
When we come back, we'll add lobster to the mix and then dig in.
So what do you think?
I think it's excellent. I think, you know, as you said, you can taste the Dijon mustard and the tarragon, and the sauce is really balanced. I mean, that's the main thing. Welcome back to Hook It and Cook It. We're almost finished with our almond encrusted redfish. Now it's time to prep the lobster.
So we're gonna take this knife, and I did a little incision earlier, but basically just kind of crack it. If you want to peel that side out, I'll peel this side out.
Have you already taken the vein out, or the I guess that's intestine?
Yeah, it came out with the first incision. If there's any left over, we can pull it out.
Okay.
Just set those, get rid of that. And then we're gonna just give it a rough chop.
Man, that looks fantastic.
And this is going in sauce. Let's see, we're gonna need some of that Dijon mustard down there.
Alrighty.
This is just Grey Poupon. This is the type that I would prefer. You know, like wine is not necessarily, you know, the alcohol cooks off a little bit, but the mustard, I wouldn't substitute this. I would actually use this Grey Poupon.
And it's just a difference in the flavor. Is there any particular thing that drives that difference?
It's just a really good flavor. I mean, it's a vinegar-based mustard. All mustards are, but this particular, I just like the flavor of that mustard with seafood. I've got a soup that I'll make, a crab bisque. We use it's a crab Dijon bisque.
Really?
It's really good with seafood, I think. We're gonna try and mix that in.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm just mixing that in a little bit.
Okay. This is a dish now that you came up with yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
All of our stuff is original. Whether it was something that was there before I took over as a chef or something that I put on the menu. And if it was, you know, there are original dishes. We have seasonings, dressings, all that stuff, all original from scratch. Now I've also got some jumbo lump crab meat.
Ooh,
this is just jumbo lump, fresh blue crab. Put that in there.
Okay.
And we've got some fresh tarragon.
All right.
And some parsley. If you just want to grab a few pinches of those off and just give them a rough chop.
Okay. Is that about enough?
That's
like
plenty.
That?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that about good?
That's good.
All right. I'm a good chopper.
Yes. I can tell. It's good to have a good chopping assistant.
Man, that's fresh spices make all the difference. Don't they?
Oh yeah.
You can really
Yes.
smell that.
That tarragon's potent. Tarragon's got a good smell, good flavor. And it is quite fragrant. Okay. So we're gonna ladle some of this sauce over the top, just kind of baste this fish a little bit, if you will.
Boy, that looks incredible.
Just let it kind of coat up. Finish cooking it. And so I got some asparagus that we're gonna serve with it.
Okay.
So we slide this one here. And with this, I charred it earlier, just a little kosher salt and fresh cracked black pepper. And just, you blanch it for a minute just to kind of soften it. And then we go straight high heat, just char it up a little bit. And now we're just gonna toss it in a little lemon butter and warm it up.
Okay.
So we got that butter there.
All right.
Got a smaller spoon somewhere. Oh, this will work, this is fine. We're going to also need a couple of these green onions. We're gonna slice that.
Okay.
And slice them again. And then I turn them on like a 45-degree angle, and we're gonna kind of cut them on a bias.
Is that just for appearance, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That makes kind of cool.
And then so you just end up with a little
Yeah.
spear like that. So we're gonna warm these asparagus up. A little bit more lemon.
When you grill them, how long did you say you grilled the asparagus for?
On medium heat, about 2 minutes.
Okay.
I just like to get a nice brown or darker black charred color.
A little flavor there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that sauce is darkened up nice. That's looking really good.
For this, I like to take this, put them in the center. And then with the fish, we're gonna go just off to the side. And then take some of that lobster and mushrooms and shallots.
Man, that looks incredible.
A little bit of the Dijon sauce. Oh, we just need a pinch of those green onions. I chopped them up and didn't put them on there. They're right there.
Oh, yeah.
Just drop a few right on top.
I like that.
That's good.
All right.
And then that would be an almond encrusted redfish with a lobster vegetable Dijon sauce.
Looks fantastic.
Grilled asparagus.
Without a doubt, this is my favorite part, especially with something like lobster involved in it. So, talk a little bit about, I'm going to taste it now, talk a little bit about the flavors and about, things like if the viewer wanted to have a starch with it, some things that they might consider that you think could complement it, or maybe even a wine.
Okay. Well, you should notice the almond flavor on the fish, but the Dijon and that tarragon go really well with the lobster. I mean, it's an interesting flavor. It's unique, I think. And like I said earlier when we were making it, I think those things go really well with a fresh piece of fish, seafood in general. But if you were to want a different type of vegetable, I like a squash. A spaghetti squash is really good. And you have almost like a little pasta, but you're getting your vegetable instead. If you actually wanted starch with it, I would do maybe small roasted red potatoes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you could mix them up in the cream a little bit if you wanted. It would go together well. So what do you think?
I think it's excellent. I think, as you said, you can taste the Dijon mustard and the tarragon, and the sauce is really balanced. I mean, that's the main thing. A lot of times I notice that different flavors jump out at you, and this is kind of, they all meld together. I mean, that is superb. You've done a good job. I think with a masterpiece like this, Sophie's definitely going to have to give you a raise. There's no question about it.
We'll let her know.
Well, I've got to taste one more bite here. Excellent. Well, you learned how to make redfish with a delicious lobster topping. I'd like to thank Chef Chris Garrett from the Chimney's Restaurant in Gulfport, Mississippi, for showing us how it's done. And remember, you can find the recipe on our Facebook or webpage. Join us next time for another delicious episode of Hook It and Cook It.